5 deputies. We're all going to get badges and of various kinds.
I thought you ran out of film.
No, I turned it off. I was conserving.
Oh.
I thought you were finished. That's why.
Film in it, Ron. Come on, Dad.
Joey, I sent my message in.
I will.
Again, my name is Dub Maines. I work for Congressman Barton. I'm here in the Ennis office. Although I'm rarely here in the Ennis office, that's where my desk is. I want to thank the Bennett's for having this here, obviously. It's a great place, a gorgeous place. Thanks for the dinner. I wasn't even expecting that. And secondly, I want to apologize to y'all that were expecting me to be here last time, and I wasn't. I'd like to have a good excuse for that, but as I told Mr. Bennett, I don't have a good excuse. I just flat didn't put it in my schedule and forgot, and I apologize. But by the way, I hate people that read speeches, so I've got some I'm going to read. Driving home after the election night, you know, I was with Joe that night, and we'd been to the Fort Worth Republican Party, which wasn't much of a party. Then we went to Bill Zedler's quote-unquote victory party, where he lost. We went to Kim Breimer's, where he lost. And one of the few bright spots is we went to the Ellis County party last, and we had some pretty good wins there. But it was a cold, dreary night, and I was driving home at about 2 a.m., and I was feeling, well, I'll read this to you. This is the email I sent out to some friends, mostly congressional folks in D.C. that I've known over the years, and just some thoughts that I had, and then I'll talk about that. And I apologize for reading. Like I said, I hate people that read speeches, but I'm just going to have to read this. And again, this was written midday, the day after the election. Last night was a bad one, but now is not the time to despair. We're not in particularly worse shape than we were after Bill Clinton defeated George H.W. Bush in 1992. Clinton was on top of the world. In the 103rd Congress, there were 258 Democrats in the House. There were 57 Democrats in the Senate. The Republican leaders in both bodies were trying to figure out ways to make Hillary care more palatable, since it was obviously going to pass. Then Phil Gramm stepped up and said it would pass over his, quote, cold, dead political body. It didn't pass, and we were well on our way to 1994. There will be those in the media, in the consultancy, in the lobby, and perhaps even among our own hierarchy, who will counsel that the way to return to power is to moderate our positions, to compromise our beliefs, to be more bipartisan. I challenge them to give, and I do, challenge them to give me examples of where that has ever worked. Now is the time to stand up strongly and unequivocally for what we believe. We must fight them constantly. With the Democrat numbers in Congress, we will rarely win there. That is not to say we won't be winning back the American people. And every now and then we will defeat 2009's version of Hillary Care. Rest assured they will give us the opportunity. Obama, Pelosi, and Reid have neither the political acumen nor the competence that Clinton, Foley, and Mitchell had. We managed to thwart them in the 103rd. We can thwart them in the 111th. Again, I want to reiterate, this was mainly going to friends that work, staffers in the House, and some congressional members, so it's kind of aimed toward them. Now is the time to plan for and create the future. As surely as an awful 1992 led to a great 1994, an awful 2008 can lead to a great 2010. It won't automatically. If we act like minority leaders Michael and Dole did, we will have a very pleasant and long sojourn in the wilderness. If we're true to our principles, committed to the fight, and always confrontational with our ideas and against their ideas, the American voters may want us back soon. If all we do is try to make awful legislation a bit better and try to keep animosity in the Congress to a very low level, the people will do what they did for 40 years, see no difference between the parties, and leave us out in the cold. Winning alternatives are never slightly better. Now is the time for the 2009 Grahams, Gingriches, Armies, DeLays, and on the staff level, Gillespies, to step forward and pick up their swords. I'm completely confident that this group of Democrats will provide us with the targets. There will be Hillary cares to defeat. There will be contracts with America to create. It is also time for the 2009 Doles and Michaels to step aside. They were truly great and decent men, but they gave the impression that they were completely comfortable with the status quo, and that it was more important to maintain good relationships with the other side and with the media than to promote conservative Republican ideals. That needed to end in 1994, and to the extent it exists, it needs to end now. Last night as I was driving home from the ballot counting in Ellis County, a couple of lines kept coming to me in a poor, poor, pitiful me sort of way. The lines were, "These are the times to try men's souls, and now is the winter of our discontent." When I got to the office this morning, I refreshed myself on the fuller context of those lines and remembered they were not whining about awful circumstances, but were wholly hopeful. I have included excerpts from both below. Things are bleak right now, and we have at least two very tough years ahead of us. However, circumstances will certainly provide us with the political and policy equivalent of sleeping Hessians in Trenton. We must have the intelligence, fortitude, and generalship to cross an icy Delaware in the dark of a stormy night and defeat them. Only then will we return to the glory of Yorktown. Then I included a P.S. just kind of after Rush's own heart. The above opinions are my own, but should be everyone's. And I'll do the quick quotes that are from the American Crisis, which was Thomas Paine. "These are the times to try men's souls. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will, in this crisis, shrink from the service of their country. But he that stands by it now deserves the love and thanks of man and woman. Tyranny like hell is not easily conquered, yet we have this consolation with us, that the harder the conflict, the more glorious the triumph. What we obtain too cheap, we esteem too lightly. It is dearness only that gives everything its value. Heaven knows how to put a proper price upon goods, and it would be strange indeed if so celestial an article as freedom should not be highly rated." And then from Richard III. "Now is the winter of our discontent, made glorious summer by this son of York, and all the clouds that lord upon our house in the deep bosom of the ocean buried. Now with our brows bound with victorious wreaths, our arms hung for monuments, our stern alarms changed to merry meetings, our dreadful marches to delightful measures." Now both of those were a little flowery for just something as mere, I guess, as an election. But they're not just mere elections. Every 2 years, we are continuing, if we do the right thing, and they're fighting against us. Every 2 years. The great thing about politics is that you never lose. But the bad thing about politics is you never win. This fight will go on from now on. As long as we've got an American republic where that fight is able to be had, it will go on. We've got to continue fighting. Our current